Hi everybody, Adrienne here, and today I'm coming to you with a review of the Tarte Amazonian Clay Foundation, and my shade is Tan Deep Sand. I purchased this foundation about 2 weeks ago at Ulta for $39. The reason why I purchased this is because I'm having a little bit more breakouts as my skin type is changing due to maturing skin with hormonal imbalances and who knows, the weather. I live in central Illinois, so I get every extreme of weather. But I decided I would give some foundations a try outside of what I've been using for my Holy Grail for years. I wanted to do some drugstore foundation reviews. And I also wanted to find out what the high-end foundations are like. So this is my first high-end foundation, and I decided to go with Tarte because this is well, not all natural, but it has a lot of natural ingredients in it, and it's got zinc oxide and titanium dioxide for the sunscreens that are in it. And I think it has 15% SPF is what this has in it. And also being paraben and a mineral-based makeup, I thought it would be much healthier for my skin. I am going to pick up the box so I can look along the sides and read exactly what it says. It says that its skin invigorating ingredients include water, mineral pigments, vitamin E, sodium hyaluronate, and Amazonian clay. And the sodium hyaluronate is supposed to help you hold moisture. I actually printed out what it says on the Tarte website as to the foundation claims, and it says it's an oil-free foundation. And it's supposed to be a matte finish that's breathable, that's good for the skin, and with a 12-hour wear time, and it's supposed to cover hyperpigmentation and acne scars without hiding your complexion. So that's what the foundation claims. So as you can see, I've already done my face, but now I'm going to go ahead and show you what the application of this foundation was like. Fingers and dab it on. This first side, I'm going to go ahead and start to blend it in with a beauty blender. And this beauty blender is dampened. I'm not caring for the way it's applying with the beauty blender. I don't know if you can see, but it almost looks as if it's shearing the foundation out. I typically only use a damp beauty blender if I need to lessen the coverage of a foundation, or if it seems to be drying quickly. I will finish blending this side of my face here with the beauty blender. And this is what it looks like. I can still see some of the dark hyperpigmented spots that I have here on my cheekbone and underneath. I think I got it. Looking at the mirror down below me, I think I've got it pretty much all blended out. Now on the other side of my face, I'm going to take a few dabs of this and I'm going to blend it with the flat top kabuki brush, and that's typically what I use to blend my makeup. Okay, just stippling that in. And this does seem to give a heavier coverage. I'm not going to go underneath the eyes because I'm going to color correct with the orange corrector. And then I'm going to put some Tarte Shape Tape Concealer on before I finish up this foundation review. I'm going to go ahead and use the Shape Tape Concealer in Tan Sand is the color that I use. Wow, there's a huge difference between the coverage on this side and on this side of the face. I think that the beauty blender really sheared it down right now. It looks kind of ashy on this side of the face, and I think it's because this side has had longer time to set up and melt into the skin, but I'll continue to blend it out and go up on the forehead. And for a consistent look, I am going to go and add more on this side of the face and blend it in with the flat top kabuki brush. And the flat top kabuki brush I'm using is Jessup. Put a few dabs on the forehead. A little bit of this seems to be going a long way. I like foundation that's more creamy. And oh, I probably should show you this. But that's the little squeezy tube that it comes out of, so you don't have a lot of messes with it. I did prime my face with my Mary Kay oil-free moisture gel before I started putting this foundation on. Trying not to get it all in the headband. I got a couple big pimples up here that I popped that kind of scabbed over, that I don't want to disrupt that. It's blending really well. Looks like this side is catching up with this side. I've almost got it blended as much as I'm going to blend. Okay, before I go in and make any adjustments, I want to discuss the coverage that we have now. I can still see the hyperpigmentation coming through on both sides of my cheeks, right in here, and on the jawline. That should be covered up because this is a full coverage foundation that claims to cover hyperpigmentation and acne scars. I guess I didn't get very high up here. Let me buff some of that in, what's left on the brush here. I don't know if you guys can still see those couple dark spots there. It's covering them pretty well, but I don't want to keep trying to blend over those because those are freshly healing. I just popped those last night, so I don't want to make them infected, but not too bad. It definitely isn't color correcting anything from looking at it. Everything kind of is what it is. The foundation, I feel, is a good match for my skin. But now I'm going to go ahead and put some orange under eye corrector on and then put my concealer on. For my under eye corrector, I also use a little kabuki brush that looks like this. I already have the product on the brush. I use one of these little, I forget what you call these little palettes, but I've had this thing for 20 years now. And I clean it with alcohol and keep using it over and over. But I like to put my concealer on that palette first and dab the little kabuki brush in it. And that way I find that I get a smoother application of the product without overusing it underneath the eye. So that's all I'm going to correct on that side. Now for the other. Gonna need a little bit more. Okay. Looking down at my mirror here in front of me to make sure I got this all blended in. I also color correct these spots on the side of my nose from wearing my glasses. I find they do a lot better if I color correct them because they are such a deep reddish purple color. Now that I've got that all blended in, I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the color Tan Sand. And with my concealer, I use a flat top kabuki brush just like the foundation, which really helps, especially with this Tarte concealer. As you see, one little dab in and I got to spread it out along both sides because this is like my holy grail concealer. I'm looking up so I get closer underneath the eye without feeling like I'm going to get the concealer in my eye. And I'd like to take my concealer up and use it as a highlight since I have it there. I don't do the triangle under the eye. With my dark circles, I feel if I try to highlight my whole face that way, it doesn't look very good. To me, it just shows more of the stuff that I'm trying to cover up because everything's light and what I'm actually trying to cover ends up still being darker in the long run. So I'm almost done with blending this, but this is how I do my concealer, just dabbing into a little more product on that plate. And I take the doe foot applicator that comes with that Tarte concealer and that little plate, the palette that I have there, the metal palette, I just rub a little on there. That way I don't waste as much product. That concealer is pretty expensive, but like I said, it's a holy grail, also one of my favorite Tarte products. But this is my whole foundation look completed before I alter anything with contouring or setting it. And as you can see, the foundation looks a little bit dewy, and that is because I put so much moisturizer on before I started the foundation. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my face, and I'm actually going to right now use a new Tarte eyeshadow palette that I got for the first time. Okay, you guys, now that I've finished my whole entire face, I'm going to give you some final thoughts on this foundation. I didn't take it lightly when I decided to review this foundation, so today is actually the 4th day that I've worn this foundation, and I got mixed feelings about the foundation. I'm going to let you know what some of my pros are to the foundation. It blends nicely. I like the container that it's in. The packaging is cute to me. I think that this wooden cap, for some reason I'm in love with this wooden cap. I like all this bamboo type looking stuff. So I like the packaging. I like that you can squeeze it onto a palette or onto your fingertips. I either prefer my foundations to be in a squeeze tube or in a glass bottle, plastic or glass. It doesn't matter as long as it has a pump on it. So it's got that going for it. I love the natural ingredients and that it's natural. It definitely does hold to the claims of being matte. Today, this is the first time that I've worn it that I've actually gotten it to look dewy. And that is because I've moisturized my face 3 times before I put this foundation on. And I also didn't use any setting powder on it. This is the normal dry down on it. I didn't put any setting powder on top of it at all. And also I used a primer to let it go on a lot smoother, so the skin has a finishing spray over it. I'm using the Mary Kay finishing spray that I typically use, and it's made by Skindinavia. So all those things that I've done, moisturizing 3 times, a primer, and a setting spray with no setting powder, has helped the foundation have some life. The foundation is true to its claim. It does dry down absolutely matte. As a matter of fact, it dries down so matte that the first time that I wore it, I left it on for a whole day. I did wear it for the 12 hours or so, but it was very uncomfortable. This part of my face, I get dry right in here. I have combination skin. My forehead gets extremely oily, and down the T-zone, moderately oily, but my cheeks get really dry. And right in here, even though it can get oily, it tends to be really sensitive where I have larger pores here. This part of my face was red and irritated and almost over dried. The Amazonian clay in it almost makes it feel like a clay mask, the type of clay mask that you paint on your face that usually dries down white and gets really tight. That's what the foundation felt like on my face without all the extra moisturizer. Like I said, this is my 4th time wearing it. So the other 2 times I put a little bit more moisturizer on, but I still set it with setting spray, and my cheeks felt like I had windburn on them. They were so dry and so irritated. I've not been very happy about that, but it is matte. If you like a matte foundation and you have super oily skin, I think you're going to love this foundation. It's going to be great for you and your complexion. One of the cons to it is it says that it covers hyperpigmentation and acne scars. I think it did a pretty good job on those breakouts that I had on my forehead, but I'm not really pleased with what it did for the hyperpigmentation right throughout here. I have gone ahead and contoured my face. I didn't use any highlighting products throughout the T-zone right in here, the areas that you normally highlight with concealer or a lighter foundation. I didn't want to do any of that because I wanted you guys to be able to see what the actual color and coverage look like. So I don't feel that it did cover up all my hyperpigmented spots, and I feel like I would have to color correct around here. I feel like the darkness around the mouth is still showing up, and that would be okay for a drugstore foundation if I was going to go ahead and do a color correct, but I'm not okay with color correcting with a $39 foundation. Typically, I want to take this foundation off quickly after I apply it. I think I'm going to be able to leave it on for a few hours so that I can show you guys how it wears with the amount of moisturizer that I have on. It doesn't seem to be too uncomfortable, although I can feel it getting dry throughout here. So hopefully I'll be able to tolerate it for at least 6 hours so that I could check in with you guys again. But Overall, even though I've said those things about the foundation, I do think this is an awesome foundation for somebody that has acne skin or very oily skin. The first couple times that I wore it, my forehead, the 6-10 hours later, I still didn't have not a drop of oil peeking through on my forehead, so it kept my skin matte. That being said, it looked over drying on my skin type. And that has nothing to do with the flaw in the foundation. I think that this foundation is just not hydrating enough for my particular skin type, and it's not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just not a product for me. I think the color match turned out awesome. I would definitely recommend it. I am pleased with the coverage of it, besides it not covering up the hyperpigmented spots. I think it has a pretty natural looking finish on my skin. I would definitely recommend this. I probably will be returning this foundation. I don't know. I'll try to keep it on for as long as possible and see how it looks and wears throughout the next few hours. But $39 is quite a bit to pay for a foundation that causes discomfort on your skin. I can tell already that this part, regardless of the moisturizer I put on, is still getting pretty dry and going to be irritated here probably within the next hour or so, because it's starting to sting a little bit. So would I recommend this foundation? Absolutely, if it's appropriate for your skin type. I think you'd be very happy with it. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I think I just didn't choose the appropriate foundation for my skin type. So I will probably be trying another Tarte foundation if they're not all like a matte finish, if I can find one. I think the Rainforest or the Sea foundation might have a little more hydrating properties, but when I looked on the Tarte website, my shade, they didn't have it anymore. So unless I can find one in my Ulta or Sephora, I probably won't be getting that one. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will be doing a lot more foundation Fridays, so please be on the lookout for all my new uploads. Also, you'll want to follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram to know when I upload videos. I hope this review helped you in deciding if you'd like this foundation for your skin, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. You also want to hit that notification bell next to the subscribe button. See you guys later and have a great day.